Samsung Malaysia, Kickstart Your Career with Samsung, Meet Our Management Associates. So as you can already tell by the topic, our speakers for today will consist of three Samsung's Management Associates. And this session will be moderated by Yo Zudian, the Head of Learning and Development for SME at Samsung. So let me introduce you to our Management Associates. First, we have Tuan Jia, Management Associate in Online Business Marketing. Next, we have Salbia Muhammad Razid, Management Associate of Consumer Market Insight. And last but not least, we have Navish Nair, Management Associate of Sales Innovation. So to those who are watching, you are highly encouraged to drop your questions and feedback in the chat box, as our speakers will be answering the questions live. And for more updates on the latest happenings in the Graduan universe, follow us on our social media Graduan. So now I'll be passing the floor to Zudian. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Dania. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Although I can't see you, I'm very happy to be here. And of course, later on, if you have any questions for our management associates here, you are definitely welcome to ask your questions. But before that, I have a lot of questions for them. So I hope I would ask certain questions that you may have in mind. Now, I am sure some of you, or even most of you, are interested in management associate program, and that's why you are here. And maybe you are kind of shopping around to see what you want to apply, where you want to go to, and so on. So here today, we're going to tell you there's another option, which is a very great, fantastic option for you here. It's a management associate program with Samsung, and here we call it SMAP, S-M-A-P, right? Samsung Management Associate Program. So it's quite a catchy name, okay? So remember that, remember Samsung. At the end of the session, you are definitely, again, welcome to ask questions, and also welcome to apply with our program. Now, first and foremost, here I have my management associates here. All of them, they are the senior management associates, so they have a lot of experience to share, and of course, a lot of insights about the company, about the culture, about the program, okay? So without further ado, let me start with the first question. So my management associates, are you ready? If you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Yes. You are not, can't wait to answer certain questions, right? Okay, so first and foremost, please introduce yourselves and tell us a bit more about what you are doing in your current rotation. Because all of you are in different departments. So introduce yourselves and tell us what you are doing in your current rotation. Anybody can start.
I can go first.
Sure.
So, hi everyone, my name is Jai. I graduated with a master's in digital media production from UCL and joined Samsung in October 2020 as a management associate. I'm currently under online business marketing. I get exposure to things like assisting online campaign planning, like liaising with different departments for things like TNCs, PR coverage. I also deal with e-promoters and also planning ratings and review initiatives. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jai. Very brief introduction, but very insightful. Yeah, who want to go next?
Yeah, I think I can go next.
Hi, Navish, yes.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Navish. I graduated with a degree in marketing communication from HALP University, and I joined Samsung in December last year. I'm currently in my third rotation in the SMEP program, which is in sales innovation. In my current rotation, I'm working a lot with various different departments in several projects. So two of the projects I would like to highlight is a customer retention program in our authorized service center. How can we best retain them? And another project is the launch of a new application called Samsung Connect that assists our retail stores to order our stocks directly from the app to cut down their lead time.
Wow, the app sounds very interesting. Thank you, Navish. Yeah, Salvia, yes, tell us a bit about you and also what you are doing now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Siti Salbia. You can call me Sal. Most people do. I graduated with a degree in economics from Michigan State University back in 2019. I joined Samsung in December 2020 along with Navish. Currently in my fifth rotation in corporate marketing and the consumer market insight, which is short for CMI. Specifically, I'm more leaning towards the brand side of things. So I'm helping a lot with campaigns, be it regional or local, making sure everything is legal approved, aligned with the design guidelines of the brand, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so looking forward to this session. Back to you.
Thanks, Salbia. I'm also an economics grad. Here you can see that in our management associate program, we don't limit to certain degree or certain disciplines. We welcome all applicants from all disciplines and any degree program. Okay, so now let's get a little bit personal. Okay, I'm sure some of you would like to know as well. As much as I do. Now, can all of you management associates, can you please share with us anything memorable about your first day as an MA in Samsung? Share a bit, how does it feel like? What did you experience? Anything memorable about your first day? Yeah,
I like to go.
Sure.
Okay, so something I remember from my first day, I remember my first assignment being to help with I think it was for the assessment center for the next batch. And I remember the person who I was supposed to report to for that task was GIE actually. And so for me, it was like, oh, I'm reporting to another management associate. So like, so it was like, how to say, a culture shock sort of, because I'm reporting to someone who's supposed to be my colleague. So I was really interested in knowing further how, whether this hierarchy is very like horizontal or vertical and stuff like that. So I think it was a pleasant surprise for me actually. And yeah, so it's been lasting. Like I'm reminded every time I see Jai, it's like, oh, okay, this is how the program is like, kind of. So yeah.
That happened on your first day?
Yeah, on my first day.
Okay.
I think, yeah, it was just something I was kind of handing over to Sal for like the time being, and she was like helping me out a bit. Yeah, not really like reporting to me, but helping me out on that task I was currently handling at that time when I was under HR. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Wow, but it's a very interesting experience for you, right, Sal, that on your first day, you got to handle the assessment center, which is our selection process for the next batch of MA. Wow, very, very good. Okay, but I don't know about you, but if I were to be in your shoes, I would think it's wow, overwhelming, but exciting. Okay, yeah. So what about Jai? What about you?
Actually, okay, if for like a normal answer, I would probably say when I received my Samsung laptop, because I guess that's when it hits you, or you're really working for one of the biggest brands in the world. But if I were to be really honest, it's actually the next day I would be working from home. So that was one of the more memorable parts, because coming in and then working from home, starting from the next day of your first career, I guess that was memorable for me, like the transition. Yeah.
I see. Why is it memorable?
Because I guess I didn't expect to work from home the next day straight away. And so there was a contrast between working in office and working from home, and having to adapt to that without fully knowing who you're reporting to and your colleagues. And I guess that for me was a challenge, but I enjoyed it at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because of the current situation,
yes,
definitely you have a different kind of challenges because of the work from home arrangement. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your answer. Actually, for me, one of the most memorable thing is when I received my laptop, because in other companies you receive laptop from other brands, other computer brands, but in Samsung you receive a laptop from Samsung. So it's quite memorable in my opinion. So I have to agree with you as well. Yes, Navish, what about you?
My story is a little bit ironic and I think very similar to Sal, because we actually joined on the same day. So of course, when you reach office at like 9 a.m. and then you have your usual onboarding process. But what I really liked was when they announced the rest of the MEs that Sal and I recently joined, none of them actually knew that we were coming in that particular day. But to whoever were in the office that day, they immediately called us out for lunch. And from that day onwards until today, I think our bond grew very close. And that is something that I felt is very rare to find a bunch of colleagues who actually guide you and who you can call somewhat your family today. And yeah, it all started from the first day.
Oh, okay. Where did you have lunch on your first day? Do you still remember?
If I'm not mistaken, it's probably Simple Life. I think they looked at me and was like, "What do you want to eat?" And I said, "I'm a vegetarian." Then they were like, "Okay, Simple Life it is."
I see. Okay, okay. Well, for those of you who might be interested, that our office is at Machu 2. So it's just opposite of Mid Valley. And of course, you know, Mid Valley, there's a lot of food selection. If food is something that you really like, then this office will be definitely some place that you would like to be. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, definitely, I agree that food always bonds people. Just like any Malaysian, we love food. Okay, so now the third question. Okay, it's a bit serious, but can you tell us when did you know you wanted this job? I'm sure you have applied to many other companies and you have considered different jobs. So when did you know? When is the exact moment that you know you wanted this job?
I think I can start. So actually, when I came across this management associate program, I was still doing my master's, in the midst of doing my master's. And like you guys are now, I attended an engagement session with Samsung. And I guess how the program was and the structure was very interesting, very different from other management associate programs, because in this program, your journey is kind of tailored to you, what you want to learn and kind of, what your career goals are. So it's like tailored to what you want and your experience. So I think I was really attracted by that, and also perks like the international rotation and things like that. So at that point, I was very intrigued, and so I applied. And when I really thought I wanted this was, I guess, during the assessment center, my assessment center, I guess, it was very different from anything I've ever encountered or ever experienced. So it kind of made me feel like Samsung may be a special company, kind of. Yeah, that was my experience.
Oh, I see. So it's during the selection process, you felt that this company it's a company that will give you the experience that you want.
Yeah, it's kind of like defying certain standards of hiring, I feel, for it during my experience. So it attracted me in that way.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yes, anyone want to tell us a bit more?
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll go next. So I think what attracted Samsung to me was the brand itself. So I was actually in the process of like searching for a job when I got the offer letter. And at that moment, there were, of course, a lot of different interviews that I was going for. And a lot of these companies, they were very uncertain with their own financial situation because of the economic crisis that was going on with COVID. And a lot of them, they were telling me like, look, we know you're a good talent, but this is what we can give you for now. And my counter offer to most of them would be, if you can give me something better, I would stop searching for another job. But none of them were able to give me even like a permanent offer. So when I got the Samsung offer letter and I saw the various perks and I saw the just the job guarantee of being in a very established brand that is surviving throughout this COVID period, I already knew that this is the safest option to go for, and that's why I accepted this job.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of what happened, a lot of companies actually suffered from financial loss and whatnot. But what we are very proud of is that Samsung, as a whole, doesn't just grow, but grow with double-digit growth worldwide. So because of that, we are top 5 brand in the world. And like what Navish says, it's really sometimes when we look for a job, look for, with a company, it's not really only to achieve our aspiration, but before that, we need to make sure that the company, in terms of finance, in terms of business, is well established. So I think what you say is really, it's really true. Yeah, I would look for something like that. Thanks, Navish. Yes, Sal. So what about your experience?
For me, I think it will be similar to Jai as well. I think when applying already, it's a good, you already know, because like Samsung is a global brand, a huge brand, right? So getting an opportunity to interview was already like like a very encouraging thing. But during the assessment center itself, during the presentation, when they explained the full perks and like benefits of the program itself, it's undeniable. It's very attractive. It's a bit of a shame because of the international assignment. It wasn't able to go through because of the pandemic. That, and also the benefits, the package of like the remuneration, everything. And I'll be honest, there was a decisive moment where I was like, yes, I want this opportunity. Is, I think, during the presentation of the package, I think the vision and the leadership of the program made me feel like it's something worthwhile, something that I want to spend my time with. So I think that was it for me. a bit, maybe I'm being a bit vague, but that's about it. Yeah.
All right, thanks. I think it's the overall package, overall program that attracted you, and it may be something that gradually that you have thought through. It's a process that you have considered, So I think it's more of that. Thank you for your answer. I think it's really nice of all of you being so open and share, what really went through your mind. Here, I would want to know, what was your first win in Samsung as a management associate? What was your first win in Samsung? Anybody can go. Yeah.
First,
Okay.
I wouldn't say first win, but perhaps for me, it was about learning. It was learning about a possible like new career path that I previously didn't consider, because my first and longest rotation was under HR, and I was involved in things like graduate recruitment. Like I was actually part of Sal and Navish's assessment center planning, and I felt like I was very inspired and motivated by things like that, and seeing the impact that it brought directly, and realize that it potentially be something I want to pursue. And also I think that this is what rotational programs are, essentially like opportunities for you to discover yourself and what you're looking for in a career. So I guess that is a win for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a win. See the two talented people that you have brought in, that you have contributing in bringing them in. So I think it's definitely a gain for you, Jai, because we spoke about it before, and I'm happy that you know a bit about what you want to do in the future. So thank you for sharing with us. Yeah, next, who want to go next?
I'll go next.
Yeah, sure.
The first win for me was when I was rotated into innovation, where Navish is currently at right now. My first win would be I was given the opportunity to plan a new project like on my own from scratch. So for me, and to be able because the project was tracked for an internet process, which would have a direct impact to how the company operates. So I think that was, the first win for me, being able to do something that actually had a real impact to the company, and also being able to do it on my own. In a sense, everything was from scratch. So I got to learn a lot about how to plan out a project and what's the R&R, what's the timeline, like roles and responsibilities and stuff like that. So I think for me, that was my first big win in Samsung. Yeah. That's
Wow,
about it.
amazing, amazing. So in this program, you actually get the opportunity to get your hands on certain projects that you might see very immediate result. Sometimes you might see a long-term result. Okay, so I'm happy that Sao, you have experienced that. What about Navish?
I would say my first win was when I was in my pure player online rotation. I was in charge of conducting live streams with Shopee to promote our various new launches. So the first time I did it, I actually did it end to end. So and today when I passed over that task to another ME, I actually created an entire template on how to do the live stream. So after doing it for about 3 to 5 times, I can proudly say that I know how to do it from end to end, and I know which people to liaise with to do what that is needed. And you can also see the immediate result, because the day after the live stream, the sales numbers is out. So you will know from your live stream how many people actually bought the products because of the live stream.
So who conducted the live stream?
Our favorite host would be Adam Lobo from Shopee.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Wow. So you know how to do it. That's amazing. All right. Thanks for sharing that, Navish. And yeah, of course, in Samsung, you don't only deal with Samsung people, you also deal with our business partners. So one of them, one of the most important ones would be Shopee, because we also sell our products, distribute our products through online channels. So those of you who are interested, you can apply. You will definitely get an exposure in that area, and which I think it's the reality, because of how the consumer behavior has changed from those days buying from the actual shop, now buying from the online distribution platform. Okay, thank you for sharing. All right, now next. Okay, I'm sure this question is something that a lot of people who are not in Samsung would want to know, because Samsung is such a global brand. We know the phone, we know the TV, we know the products. However, what about the work culture? What appeals to you the most? Can share with us what Samsung work culture is like, and what does it appeal to you the most?
Avish, you want to go first?
Yeah, okay, sure. I think what appeals to me is everyone is very approachable, and that although there's a clear hierarchy, like you have your HODs, you have the president and all, even when you go and approach them, they would still tell you in a very open platform why your proposal is accepted or rejected, and if it's accepted, how is it going to benefit the business? If it's not going to be accepted, what do you need to change? In fact, even yesterday, I went and approached my HOD with a request, and I felt at some moments he was spoon feeding me, because he was like, "I'm going to dictate, you type." And for 1 hour, I was just typing as he was dictating. So yeah, the hierarchy definitely do exist, but every one of them is still very approachable.
Okay, so there is a very clear guidance. That's what you like the most. All right. Okay. Thanks. Yes.
I actually have the same
okay.
Same keyword as Navish, approachability, because I feel like a lot of my rotations and my tasks that I was involved in, a lot of them are very a lot of them involve different teams across multiple departments. So you work with a lot of different people, and also you work with a lot of different processes as well. So given that this is like your first job, right? My first job. So a lot of things I don't know, especially when it's like processes that are unique to the teams. But everyone is always very open to answering your questions, taking their time to explain things one by one, and they're not very snappy about it. They're patient, and they're always open to your questions. And I think that's what I quite like a lot about the Samsung culture, because you get to work with a lot of different people, you get to know different processes, and you get to know a lot of different things, and you learn not because you're forced to, but because you're given the opportunity to. So that's what I like about the culture. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Jai?
Oh, for me, like I would say, like realistically, working for like a big and established brand, you will be dealing with a lot of systems and processes that is input, to structure the entire working system. But also the fact, like I agree with Navish and Sal completely, is that everyone is very approachable. But with that, you have to be assertive also. If you want to know like anything you want to learn, you have to be assertive, because Samsung, with its workload, everyone is very busy. So I feel like it's important for you to be assertive, to learn about what you want, and also to complete your task. But like for online business, for example, I feel like everyone is really, really friendly, and the hierarchy is there, but it's not noticeable. Like because I guess online business is a very small department. So yeah, it's like Navish said, there is a hierarchy, but for me, I would say it's not really noticeable in my current department. And I can always ask my HOD if I was, if I wanted to know anything, or I can ask for feedback, and it's always really open. So that's very nice.
All right. Yeah, thanks. I think all of you, your answers are about the same. It's about, getting the leadership and also the guidance from your HODs, from your supervisors. You could get that. And also, I think in Samsung, because it's an Asian company, maybe I think most of you would know it's a Korean company, that a value that Asians always hold very dearly to our heart is respect. And if you are very respectful person, you wouldn't have any problem with the culture. But in general, it is very, very nice working environment, because people are very willing to help you. Okay. Now, next question. What is the typical application process for SMAP? Any advice for the potential applicants here? I think somebody also asked this question from our audience. So definitely people want to know, okay? So get as detailed as possible and tell us what is your advice and tips.
I can start for this. Actually, Saul and I was involved in the most recent assessment center, including the planning and the execution and everything. So the typical process would be you'll go through it. If you're selected, you'll go through an online test, and then you'll have several rounds of assessment, usually 2 to 3, depends. Yeah. So yeah, and usually the assessments are case-based. So I think something special about Samsung is that we've never benched on like the typical hiring standards, like interviewing and stuff. So it really tests your character, because I think Samsung wants to understand what type of person you are, your work ethics, your reactions. How would you be like when you're faced up with a moral situation? Like, what would you do? And so, yeah, if I were to give an advice, just like be yourself. Like, don't try to like be something you're not. Like, just be yourself and be curious, I guess. Like, because most likely the things that you encounter in the assessment center will not be, the regular things you will read about, to be fair. So yeah, be curious and be willing to learn, and be nice to others. That's also important.
Be nice to others.
No, really, yeah, because yeah.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Jai. I think one key takeaway from what you mentioned is really to be yourself. Even though it's a cliche, you see that in Instagram and whatnot. Really being yourself, I think it's the best policy. You can't be someone else. So thank you, Jai, for sharing with us. Now, can I go to Navish? Navish, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. I would say more than being yourself, Jai mentioned a bit about being critical and being curious. And that comes a lot with reading and knowing what's going on around the world and around the country. Because the various situations that they will throw you in when you're in these assessment centers is a lot to do with ethical or moral situations. They probably come up with some weird hypothesis and throw you in that situation. So when you are here, what would you do? Would you commit a murder, or would you support a murderer? This is just examples that I'm randomly throwing, but how you back yourself up when you're in all this situation comes with your ability to think on the spot, at the same time with your knowledge that you have from reading. So reading about worldly news, reading about what's going on in the country. And when you're able to support your arguments with all these various examples, it shows that your worldview is not just reflective of someone with book knowledge, because like it or not, everyone out there is already scoring straight A's, everyone out there is already getting their masters. So how do you stand out in front of all of these assessors is to have that world knowledge.
Wow, Navish, I really, for what you have mentioned, I think the applicants, the future applicants should pay you, because you are really telling them the secret. So for those of other people who choose not to attend this webinar, too bad, but for those of you who made it a point to come here, yes, this is the secret. Thank you, Navish, for sharing with them. Thank you. Yes, Sal, what about you?
Really good points from Jai and Navish. Very, very good points. For me, everything that they said is important, and I think you guys should take note for sure. But for me, I'll add on. What I think is useful to think about as well is to be participative and collaborative. So when you're given the chance to be part of an assessment center, rather than just sit back and just following the flow, try to be participative and be proactive, contribute to the discussion, try and weed out people who are not speaking, and try and get them involved as well. Because we've seen a lot of very, very good people during our time in the running assessment centers, but most of the good reviews that we hear from our reviewers that reviews the performance of the participants, a lot of them commends people who are collaborative rather than, lone wolves who just scores everything on their own kind of person. Because you're most likely you'll be part of teams, right? So part of being a team is being collaborative. So being collaborative and being good at what you're doing, that's A+, you'll get noticed straight away. So yeah, I think character, something that shows character. Yeah, something like that.
All right, thank you for sharing. Well, you can see that what they have mentioned, right, is really this assessment center, this selection process is really not to test who is the smartest, okay? Everybody is smart, but it is to look at, I would say from my point of view, it's culture fit. So you come to a company, whether you are the smartest, it doesn't matter if you can't fit in the company, if you can't perform and you can't collaborate with people around you in the company. So here we are looking at what Sal mentioned, is somebody who collaborates, who is willing to listen to others, and also we are looking for leaders. And of course, Navish has told you so many points, really to think out of the box and don't assume you know everything, because you actually, when you're in that situation, you really know that it is something that is really not what you can read from online and stuff like that. Okay, so I think they have shared very, very good points, and I hope that you are taking down notes, because if I were you, I would definitely do that if I want to apply for the job. Yeah, next question. Can you give us one word to summarize or what you think is important to be successful in this program? One word to summarize, out of the things, the wonderful things that you have mentioned, what is the one word to summarize what you think is important to be successful in this program?
I can go first. I think I mentioned this word before also, but to be curious, and to be open to new possibilities, I guess, because the beauty of a rotational program is in the experiences that you get at the places that you least expect. So if you come in with a fixed mindset regarding your career, you'll find it difficult once those things or what you wanted to achieve don't go your way. So I think having this type of mindset when you come in is one way to make the best out of a program like this, and also to never limit yourself, because you'll find that your strengths can be very impactful in roles that you'll never imagine. So yeah.
All right, thanks, Jai. So curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I like your answer. What about Navish?
My answer is actually to be persistent. And the reason for that is because we are all considered fresh graduate in our first job, and the key weakness that we possess now is our inexperience. And along the way, like let's say we are currently here, and after 5 or 10 years of experience, your benchmark will increase, and over time it increases. It's very easy to look back in the 5 or 10 years period, but that process of going up is not a very straightforward process. Along the way, you will hit a lot of roadblocks, you will fail many times. And when you're in a very big company which has a lot of systems and processes that you need to learn to implement your to just carry out your tasks and your responsibilities, you need to be very persistent in learning and in facing all of those failures along the way. And if you can have that persistence and self-perseverance, I think the journey can be a lot more smoother.
All right, thanks, Navish. So it's to really be persistent, especially when the learning curve is very steep. So if you don't persist, you might give up, and that's it, right? So we have seen some people given up. But you know, if you persist and move on with the program, or even with any career you choose, I am sure you will achieve something. What about Sao?
For me, I'd say adaptability, because one of because the nature of the program is like rotational basis, right? So you would every like 3 or 4 months you would go to a new department, and it's something that's something new. So you won't start from zero, meaning you won't come in not knowing anything at all, because you would have learned a bit about the company, how it works, what are the systems, what are the other departments involved and stuff like that. But everything that you do, like that's assigned, if it's projects or day-to-day tasks, those things will be new and unique to the team. So you would need to learn things, right? So I think adaptability is getting all the information you need to get your task done. So that being like, what is the objective of the task? What are the requirements to completion? Who is involved? What is the timeline? What are the responsibilities involved? Those type of things. I think adaptability is being resourceful enough to get those information, to get your task done. And it's not easy. It's like, it's either you have to bug people for this information or sift through a lot of documents, a lot of files to be familiar with what you need to do. Yeah, so I think, and it's different, the process is different every time from different departments. So adaptability is being able to do that no matter where they put you. So I think that's what one of the things this program does well to train you in.
Yeah, I think what Sal mentioned is really true. Adaptability is really something that you will need for this program, because you are on job rotation. So based on what you have mentioned just now, all three of you actually talked about something. You talk about learning, you talk about the ability to learn. And now I would like to find out what you have, what is the most valuable thing you learned throughout this program?
Okay, I think I can go first. The most valuable thing I've learned is to always have high standards in the work that you produce. I realized this whenever I submit my work to my managers, and they will always look at me and say, if they are to submit this work to the HOD, what types of comments would they receive? So when you start thinking that way, and not just think that your manager is receiving your work, but the HOD is ultimately receiving your work, or the president is receiving your work, then you would not want the president to look at like a very bad quality work. So always ensure that the work you do is 110% and it's presented in a very like top class professional manner.
Yeah, Navish, I definitely gravitate towards what you said just now, because I think a lot of undergrads, when they go through their degree program, the standards are not like what you would expect in workplace. And in workplace, if you put your in the mindset with what you mentioned, the kind of mindset that this work will be presented to the CEO, to the president, then you will change your approach, you change your the way you work. So thank you for sharing with us. Salbia, what about you?
My biggest takeaway from this program, I would say, knowing when to ask questions. It might be a bit, I think it's a bit more personalized to me because I'm the type of person that is not very creative in thinking per se. So meaning if I'm not given all the information, I tend to not be able to do a lot of things, meaning I would be busy questioning things rather than executing them. So I kind of waste a lot of time in terms of that, right? But being in Samsung, where it's most of the time, a lot of the tasks are very fast paced. So you need to get things like ready, go, right? But sometimes like information is not all readily available. So it's like coming from different sources. So I think I did learn a lot about having to ask questions and when to ask them. Like, do you do item A, B, C first, then ask questions, or do you do item A, then ask questions, that kind of thing. So I think it's about having like the nuance of like knowing who to ask, when to ask, and that type of thing. And do you need to ask to do that certain task? So that type of judgment, I guess, is something that I learned to be a bit better at. I'm still improving, but that's something I think my biggest takeaway from this program. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is actually a skill. I think a lot of people would agree with you that it's something that you need to train, especially when you're in a different environment. Okay, thank you very much for sharing with us. Yeah, Jai, what about you?
I completely agree with Navish and Sal, like your responsibilities as an employee and like, being assertive and everything. But I also think that the most valuable thing I learned for me is who I am as an employee. Like, what do I want as an employee? I don't know if it makes sense, but like whether I like corporate life, whether I value work-life balance, what type of working style do I prefer, what type of leadership do I work better under. So I feel like this program gives you a lot of opportunities to explore this, like who you are as a person, like working under a corporate or like wherever an organization, like who are you? I think that is my most valuable takeaway as someone who is just starting their career. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing about that, because what you say is something important. It's about self-awareness, and a lot of people who don't have self-awareness, they may suffer from a lot of other challenges. For instance, they may not be able to improve themselves, or they may not be able to achieve and maximize their potential. So this program will definitely help you to look at your own strength and weaknesses. A lot of people focus on weaknesses, right? But sometimes we forgot about our strength. And this program will help you to look at it and how you can capitalize on your strength, which I think is more important than changing yourself. Okay. So what Jai said is truly something I think it's something valuable. Definitely something that this program can offer. So thank you for sharing about that. Now, final question, and this is a follow-up question from the earlier question. With what you have learned throughout the MA program, how would you see yourself progressing in your career in the next 5 years? Okay, with what you have learned, how would you see yourself progressing in the next 5 years?
I can start first.
Okay, all right.
I think I want to go first because I think my answer will be the least, it will be the most underwhelming one. For me, I'm not very future facing kind of person. Like I don't have a career plan, which is why I wanted to go to SMAP to experience all the new things, have a rotational the work flow for the next 18 months when I was first applying to know what I want to do, right? Surely I know better about what kind of career I want in the future because of this program. Like Jai said, you learn a lot about who you are as a worker and what your interests are and stuff like that. Here, I realized I really like project management. I quite like things that have a start and end date, a goal, and everything in between. So for me, I think I can't say in the next 5 years, but I do know that I want to do more of project management. So yeah, that's my takeaway from the program.
Thanks.
Career.
Well, next 5 years is, just a way to say that in the future, sometimes when we think about 5 years later, it may be a long time, because now with so much changes, just in these 2 years, there are so many changes already. But it's good that you know a certain direction where you want to go to. So thank you, Sal. Anybody can go next.
I can go next. Yeah. I think for now, I'm not sure exactly like what type of role I want to be in, but I know where my interests are at, and probably want to continue on like a growth trajectory in like people related or like branding and comms related field. Whether that develops into a management role or like a functional expert role, I think it's really hard to say at this point. But overall, I guess I want to make sure that in the future, no matter what position I'm in, I'm always prioritizing my personal growth as well. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jai. Yeah, personal growth is definitely something that all of us should invest ourselves in. Like now, people who don't know how to use Zoom, they have to start learning how to use Zoom. We would never imagine, we have to cope with different kind of challenges and stress working at home. But it is definitely something I think if you have that curiosity and also that growth mindset to learn, I think definitely you can have that kind of ability to overcome a lot of challenges in the future. Yes, Navish. Saving the best for last.
I hope my answer doesn't sound too superficial, and it's actually a very long thought process of mine. So number one is to recognize that we are in a pandemic, and to hope or to pray or to just leave it to the grace of God that in 5 years from now, we will no longer be in this pandemic. And why I want us not to be in this pandemic anymore is because I want that 5 years from now for me to be able to narrate a story that I was part of the team that survived the pandemic, and not just survived, but did something very meaningful career-wise throughout the pandemic. And of course, I feel that like when you mentioned Samsung is top 5 brand in the world and all, it's definitely one of the best companies to survive the pandemic. So yeah, when I say I hope it's not too superficial, I also want to include the word we need to be innovative enough to ensure that when we try to survive this pandemic, we are still relevant. So every new idea that we do is consistent with the latest trend, or we be the trendsetter and tell the world that this is how things is supposed to be done. That is one very minor goal. I would say the greater, more personal goal would be to realize that at whatever age, you should not stop thinking of growing. And I actually had this discussion with one of my managers a few days ago, actually. And she told me that if you reach a point when you're like at 40 or 45 and you're already senior management, and you say, oh yeah, this is my peak, I'm happy here. Then she said, like for the next 10 to 15 years of whatever career you still have will be the most boring years of your life because you're no longer growing. So even if you've reached that CEO position, recognize that you still can grow. And that is one very good advice that I hope I can apply 5 years from now, to not stop growing, not stop learning.
Wow, amazing. Thank you for your sharing. Okay, we have some questions from the audience. So I believe we have answered Muhammad Razik's question. We have already answered you about how to apply, how we can excel. So I hope you have taken down notes from them. Next question is from Lashvini. How does Samsung support its employees as they look to grow and level up their skills and responsibilities? So anybody can take this question. How does Samsung support us as a staff to grow and level up our skills?
We have our internal learning platform called Samsung U, and we're always encouraged to learn and develop, whether it's personal related or work related skills on that platform. And it's also linked to LinkedIn Learning, so you get access to a lot of courses, whatever your interests are. And so, yeah, I think it's a really good platform and a really good way that employees are supported in a sense, online learning is like, the hot thing now. So yeah.
Thanks, Jai. Thanks for promoting Samsung U. Me as a learning and development person from Samsung, I have to say that the learning culture is very strong in Samsung. So here, it's not only the local office that promote and also that facilitate learning, but it goes all the way from HQ. So HQ would provide certain courses for us, for the global staff to learn. And also, like what Jai mentioned, Samsung U, it's to be honest, in my own opinion, throughout my working experience, it's the best learning platform. It's world class. So it has a lot of things inside, like what Jai mentioned. LinkedIn Learning is one of them, and we also have our internally produced e-learning. So you can learn even from your own devices. Say you are driving now, a lot of people start to drive to places. You can just play it on your phone and listen to it. So it's a very good platform. So apart from that, we also have certain courses, certain courses that is to skill you up at your job. We also have this program that we train all our managers to be coach. So it is not something that you can see in a lot of companies, but this is something that Samsung is very big on, that we train managers to be coach so that they can coach the staff. So here, coaching itself, it can help you to learn and to grow as a person and also as an employee. So I hope I've answered you that, but I don't want to give too much information. If you are interested, come and apply from us, then you'll find out. Okay, thank you. Next, we have this question from Alia. May I know, this question is all the MAs will need to answer this question. May I know what are the challenges Samsung MAs encounter? Just now we mentioned very nice and pretty things. So now is, what are the challenges you encounter?
Okay, for me, because previously I did mention approachability, right? Yes, everyone's very approachable and they're always very helpful, but also when you need a lot of things from different people, need to also realize they're on their own timeline, meaning if you need something, you have to be very proactive about it. You cannot just send them a text or an email and just wait. You need to send an email, like text them on our or ping them or whatever and say like, hey, I sent you an email. We need this by this. Appreciate if you can get back to us, blah, blah, blah. So you need to be proactive in getting what you need rather than just doing the bare minimum, I would say. So that's one of the challenges, especially if you're working with senior colleagues, where you need to be a bit more respectful in your approach and stuff like that, where they would be double, triple, extra busy to get back to you. So yeah, those I think one of the challenges that I think I encountered. If anybody else wanna share theirs.
Yeah, I can go next. For me, it's definitely the millions and millions of processes and systems that we have to learn and get used to under Samsung. And also, I think because Samsung is a very established brand, so there will be very strict brand guidelines. That is also another thing that I am learning still and trying to overcome on a daily basis, knowing what is right and what is not, and being able to differentiate that, at the first glance, or easily is a challenge. So yeah, that's for me.
Thanks.
I think for me, it will be about realizing that while branding and all exists, ultimately we are a business and everything that we do needs to translate to positive results, monetary wise. So whatever that project may be, it may even be like a marketing campaign. Are you going to translate this in a long-term benefit, cost benefit to Samsung? That question is not a very straightforward yes or no, because there's like 101 different stimulations that you need to do, and then ultimately show that this is the estimated cost and this is the estimated profit that we're going to get from it, and it's within our margin, and then submit that proposal. So creating that entire framework, number one, you need to think of it by yourself. Number two, you need to approach the different people to help you come up with all these figures. And then number three, prepare that proposal and send it all the way up to the highest bosses to see whether or not it's feasible or not. And ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, you will hit a lot of roadblocks in trying to do all of this. And trying to stick to your timeline will be very difficult. But yeah, good luck in that.
Thanks, Navish. Thank you for being real. And what they mentioned, all these challenges are not filtered at all. This is what Samsung is, a lot of processes, and you need to be in touch with a lot of people who are extremely busy. But from here, you can know that ethics is something very, very important. Ethics and integrity in business are most important to us. So that's why we have very strict processes. We have certain guidelines that you must comply. So, and that explains why Samsung is Samsung, okay? And because we want to be honest, we want to have integrity as we do business. Thank you for all your answers. And I have actually one question addressing that I would like to address, because it's Iqbal, this question is posed by Iqbal. Between management associate and internship program, which one has a greater opportunity to gain more experience? Which one is more interesting? Which one has the higher chance to be hired? Okay, very long question. Okay, let me summarize. So management associate and internship are two different programs. So management associates are all our permanent staff. Okay, so when you are a management associate, even though the program is 18 months long, after that you will be absorbed permanently. You'll be placed in a department just like anybody, any other permanent staff. Whereas internship program, it's when you do when you do an internship program, it's 3 to 4 months or even 6 months kind of thing, and there's no guarantee you will get a job because it's an internship program. It's not an employment. Which one has greater opportunity to gain more experience? So it depends on what you want. Because management associate program, if you are selected, you are committed to the company because you are employed by the company. Whereas when you are in an internship, you are an intern, you're not an employee. And if you decided not to continue with the internship, you do not have to bear any costs because it's an internship. But at the same time, here I would like to highlight that even if you do an internship with Samsung, you will still be given a lot of responsibilities. We are not going to ask you to do some clerical work like stapling papers, photostating and whatnot. But it's real projects and real work. So we have some cases that our interns were converted to a staff, to becoming a permanent staff. So we do have that kind of, you will get that kind of exposure, you will get that kind of opportunity to be considered higher. So which one has the higher chance to be hired? So as I mentioned, management associate, they are already a permanent hire, interns are not, okay? So, but when you come on board as an intern, you will get an opportunity to be exposed to the company's culture, company's processes, and definitely you gain visibility. So when we consider candidates, of course, common sense wise, we will usually consider people we work with before, like, okay, this intern is good, why not we hire this person for this vacancy? I hope I've answered that question. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you, Jai, Navish, and Sal. Thank you for your openness. Thank you for your very generous sharing with us. I have personally gained and know you a little bit more. And with that, I will pass the control to graduate team. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Zudian. So that marks the end of our session for today. So thank you to all our speakers for giving such valuable knowledge, and to everyone tuning in. I hope everyone had a good time and got a few pointers on how you can become a Samsung's management associate. So as mentioned earlier, be sure to follow us on our social media Gordon to be in the know of the latest career updates, and be sure to check out the links posted by Gordon representative on the chat box for you to apply to the program. So thank you for tuning in and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.